Hi, my name's Olivia, and I want to tell you about the most tragic thing that ever happened in my life, which actually ended up as a change for the best. My story starts in a hospital when I was lying on a bed with my eyes closed. At that point, I didn't even know I was in hospital, but I was lying there and could hear someone saying, "Olivia, Olivia." So I opened my eyes and the room was filled with bright light. I was dazzled, and I totally didn't know what was going on. And then as the room came into focus, I saw this guy leaning towards me and trying to kiss me. I screamed my head off, and the guy jumped back. I got a good look at him then and saw that he was attractive. He was wearing fashionable clothes and had a really cool hairstyle, but still, I didn't want some strange guy kissing me, even if he was hot. The guy grabbed my hand and said, "Olivia, it's me, Justin." But I totally didn't know who he was, and so I started screaming again. Just then, someone came running into the room. It was a woman wearing a clean white coat, and after a moment I realized she was a doctor. She came to the bed and told me the most shocking news. "Olivia, you've been in a car accident and have lost your memory. You hit your head. How are you feeling?" The doctor kept asking me questions, but my head was spinning from her revelation. She told me that the hot guy was actually my boyfriend. I just couldn't believe it because I didn't recognize him at all. And even when he showed me some photographs of us together, I didn't want him to kiss me. It was too weird. The doctor told me that it was hard to say if I'd get my memory back or not. I was really upset, and I started crying when some more people came into the room because I didn't know who they were. They were looking at me, and I knew they must be familiar to me, but I just didn't have a clue who the heck they were. The doctor told me that the people were my family. There was a man with a kind face, a woman with red eyes like she'd been crying, and a little girl who didn't look very pleased to be there. I searched my mind, but couldn't remember them at all. A few days later, my memory had started to come back a little, and I remembered who my family were. While my memory was still poor, I didn't have any other injuries, so I was allowed to go home. If I thought that the car accident was bad, it was nothing compared to what happened next. Once I got home and memories started coming back to me, it was then that I found out who I really was. It wasn't long before I discovered that, actually, I wasn't a good person at all. I checked my social media accounts and went through some of the recent texts I'd sent my friends, and I was shocked at what I discovered. I was a bully. Going through my messages, all I found were mean things. There was a message from a girl in my class called Clara, who was a bit overweight in her profile picture. She sent me a message asking if I could help her promote a charity event for the animal rescue center she volunteered at. Her message said, "I know we aren't really good friends, but you're so popular that if you go to the event, lots of other people will come too. I really want to help the animals and support the charity." When I read the message, I felt sure that I would have agreed to her request because I really like cute animals. But instead, when I read my reply, I burst into tears. I'd been so horrid. My reply said, "No thanks, Clara. That sounds like the perfect event for boring, ugly people like you, but cool, beautiful people like me would never go to a dumb charity event. Ha ha ha." I was horrified by the revelation and started crying even more. And my little sister came into my room. I expected her to ask me what was wrong, but she just stared at me. Eventually she asked, "What's up with you?" I told her about the mean message that I'd sent to Clara and all the other mean texts I'd sent and how sad I was. My sister was really confused. She said, "You seriously don't remember that?" "Olivia, you're mean to everyone. Can't you remember last month when I was wearing my new shoes and you told me they were the ugliest things you ever saw? Or when we went to the swimming pool last summer and you pushed me right into the deep end?" Again, I was horrified. I couldn't believe what a nasty person I'd been. I apologized to my sister and she looked even more surprised, as if I'd never done it before. It was then that I decided I needed to turn over a new leaf and become a better person. When I went back to school, the first thing I did was to break up with Justin. Every time he saw me, he tried to kiss me, which wasn't very nice because I was still confused about who he was.
He wasn't understanding at all and said, "You're my girlfriend, so I can kiss you anytime I want." It felt like he was showing his true colors, and I decided that Justin wasn't the kind of guy I wanted to date. Maybe in the past when I was mean like him, but I didn't want to be with him now. I was walking to class when I heard laughing down the corridor. When I got to the front of the crowd, there was an overweight girl on the floor. She'd tripped and had dropped a stack of papers. I bent down to help her pick up the papers and saw that they were adverts for a charity event at the Animal Rescue Center. When I gave the papers to the girl, I got a huge shock when I realized that it was Clara. "Why are you helping me?" Clara whispered, her cheeks flushing red. There was a big crowd, but I knew it was my moment to apologize. Then everyone would know that I'd changed my ways. I tried to be honest. "I'm really sorry I was mean to you, Clara," I said. And everyone in the crowd looked shocked. "I want to tell you that I'd be so happy to come to the charity event you're organizing. It looks fun. You can count on me for support." Everyone looked really confused, and Clara was lost for words. Just then, a girl wearing lots of makeup pushed to the front of the crowd. The girl said her name was Betty and she was my best friend, but she didn't look like a kind person. Then she said, "What are you doing hanging out with Fatty?" Clara looked so upset when everyone laughed at her, and it really made me mad. Seeing how Betty was acting completely shocked me, and I realized that I must have been just like her. I told Betty that I didn't want to be best friends with her anymore if she was going to be so rude. She couldn't believe it and stormed off to class. After that, it took a while for people to trust me. They just couldn't believe that I'd changed my ways and thought I must be trying to trick them. But Clara, who I knew from the start was a good, kind person, always stuck by my side and defended me. After everybody saw me helping her at the charity event, that's when people started to trust me for real. Honestly, I'm so grateful that I had a car accident and lost my memory. I'm thankful that it happened because it opened my eyes to who I really was, and it was the turning point to make me change my ways.